only you could see how lovingly Winnie is looking at me from behind the camera. My hope for you is that someone in your life looks at you the way Winnie looks at me, or the way Winnie looks at food. All right, kids, we are here today to start a vlog. I don't know how good I'm gonna be at starting this vlog because the pollen here is so intense. There's a coating of like yellow-green on everything, a physical, like you can see it on everything, and it is a little bit hard to be outside, but it is so beautiful. The trees are all opening up, the flowers are all showing up, the bees are everywhere because today is a beautiful day. I need to do a library pickup. I'm going to walk my butt. I don't know, was this a good pantomime of walking? I'm gonna walk my happy tail to the library, pick up some holds they've got for me. I actually already have some library holds that I picked up last week and have not touched because I got Pokepia. I cannot do anything else. So we are actually gonna go to the library, pick up some books. I love reading, why am I not reading? So let's see what the library has in store for us today. All right, we're back from the library. When I got dressed this morning, this was fine, and now it's not. I'm hot. I'm very hot. Where are our books? Winnie, produce the books. This was a stack of library books that I already had, and this is the one I just went and picked up. So we've got some choices, you know? Oh, Winnie once again found the crinkly octopus. I'm not taking it away. She loves it too much. Deal with it. So, we have got, I believe, a funny thriller. When cinephile Jamie Prescott and her best friend Lori attend a speed dating event, Jamie expects to meet some mediocre men and indulge in street food afterwards. She doesn't expect to have her date's throat slit during a blackout. As more bodies hit the floor, it becomes clear that dating can be a very dangerous pastime. So there's that. We have Beloved, which this is for a book club that another YouTuber does. And I did the first month and I missed last month, so I would really like to participate this month, even though I'm at work during the live shows. It's Fats. I'll tag her in the description and whatnot. Maybe I should read that. Eulogy for the Undead. I'm pretty sure this is about zombies, and I can't read you the synopsis because they've put a giant barcode for the library over the synopsis. But I'm pretty sure this is like sad zombiness. Weavingshaw, which this is a new release fantasy romance that I think is a little bit gothic. It's one of the bigger books in this stack. And the Iron Garden Sutra, which I think is like funny dystopian sci-fi maybe? In outer space, no one can hear your prayers. A dead monk and a team of researchers are trapped on board a long-lost spaceship of the dead in this dark, philosophical murder mystery for fans of Becky Chambers and Dead Silence. Becky Chambers and Dead Silence are very different vibes, so I have no idea. This is our stack. I really want to play Pokepia, so I need an audiobook. This is silly. Read a book. Read a book. Okay, you can read a book. You can also play Pokepia. You can do whatever you want, honestly, because everything's on fire, and so enjoy the little things. But I'm gonna see which of these books tickles my fancy. Maybe none, because once again, what are we doing? Reading whatever the we want. All right, we are almost halfway. We are 139 pages into How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. Per usual, I picked the most recent book to show up, and I'm trying to block some of the crazy light that's happening in my house. So this one is super fun, and I'm flying through it. This is the story of Jamie and her best friend Lori, and Jamie is obsessed and academically inclined towards rom-coms and slasher movies. She's actually writing her thesis on rom-coms and slasher movies and how, even though they are not necessarily similar, they do have both within them a formulaic and similar type of path. How the first, the second, and the third act is going to go in a rom-com, you know how the first, the second, and the third act is going to go in a slasher movie. So this book is actually a rom-com and a slasher movie all mixed into one. which is kind of a silly, fun good time. Jamie and Laurie are both single, and though they are not necessarily dying to be in a relationship, they are both very much tied up in academia, even though they are silly good time best friends. They do these dating things about once a month. It's their outside time to get outside of their enclosure and interact with other human beings. So they go to this speed dating situation that is actually set up at a nightclub that has since changed name and changed interior design, but is a place that they used to frequent back in their early days of college when partying was fun, and they're pretty sure this is the place that made them swear off kamikaze shots. So they get there, the speed dating goes a certain way, and then suddenly the lights go out, and when the lights come back on, somebody is dead. So we now have this group of people who don't really know each other aside from Jamie and Laurie, and they are trapped in a slasher type situation, unable to get out of this building, and there is a murder slasher guy or girl, we don't know, stalking around this place. You're suspicious of almost everyone. Two people in particular that Jamie is attracted to. One is very traditionally her type. The other one is the opposite of that, but there's a much more immediate physical connection going on between these two. One of the things about the speed dating was that you aren't allowed to tell anyone what you do for a job. And so all of these complete strangers don't know what anybody does for a job. And so you're also trying to see through people's actions, make deductions based on like who they are outside of this slasher type situation. So far, it's funny, it's very gory, and it's very much a rom-com and a slasher all mixed together, and I'm flying through it. We finished a book. This was an absolutely silly good time. It was a slasher rom-com, and if you like either of those things separately, you'll probably like them put together. I ended up giving this, I think, like 3.75 stars. I flew through this. I had a silly good time. There was murders and running around and a masked killer, and sometimes our main character kissed a boy. Like, it was silly and fun. It's not going to change your life, but if you're looking for a slasher rom-com, that's exactly what this is. Our main character, Jamie, is just so smart. Her knowledge about horror movies and rom-coms, for that matter, really helps her make informed decisions in this situation. And she is trying to make the smart choice every single time she has to make a choice. That being said, she knows when she's going against the rules herself, when you have to make exceptions. It's not formulaic in a bad way. It's formulaic in almost like a meta way, in the like Scream way, where we know the rules, and because we know the rules, there are certain things we need to do in order to survive this. I liked that almost every character in this book is named for either a character in a horror movie, a famous director from a horror movie, or the actor or actress that played a famous character in a horror movie, but they're kind of scrambled up. We have Jamie Prescott, as in Jamie Lee Curtis and Sidney Prescott. So that's fun. It's not really a insight into the characters in particular. If somebody has the name of a villain for their first name, it doesn't mean that they're going to end up being a bad person. It's just a fun little naming device. The only thing that I feel like is extra cringe in this, because there is like a suspension of disbelief in a slasher rom-com, right? We're laughing and people's heads are getting lopped off. This is so unserious. But the only thing that was kind of cringy to me was at the beginning of every single chapter, there is a little header that is a line from a rom-com that has been reworked to be slashery. Basically taking a famous line from a romance movie and adding in words like slash or die or whatever to make it more horror movie. I skipped them after the first couple. Like, they aren't fun and funny. I think it was supposed to be like another fun little device, but I thought it was a little bit cringy. But other than that, this is a silly, fun, good time. I do wonder, with the prologue, we get a little insight into one of our friend characters, Laurie, and what she's up to, and I wonder if there's going to be another book in this series involving Laurie. She's a really fun character. Laurie and Jamie's relationship is a lot of fun. I hate that that might be, I'm gonna put something on the screen because that's slightly spoilery, seeing as this is a slasher, we don't know who's going to survive, right? So I just let you know that Laurie, her best friend, survives. Also, that Jamie survives. But it's a romance book. 2, so you know that at least our main character is gonna survive. There's a little bit of spicy in this, but it's not excessively spicy because it wouldn't make too much sense for there to be a whole heck of a lot of spice while someone's trying to kill everyone. And the spice that does happen, it's silly, but it makes sense. I had a good time. I read it super fast and it's given me some momentum to pick up another book. I don't know what I want to pick up next. I have that whole stack of library books. I have an extra one that I completely forgot about. So there's one more than the stack you've seen. I think I want to pick up another one from there. I am in the middle of another book and I really do want to keep going, but I bought that book, so I've got it for a while. So there's not a time limit on when I can read that book. But I don't want to go too long in between putting it down and picking it back up again. I don't know. I'll let you know what I pick up next. All right, so let's chat. I didn't initially think that I was going to include this book in this vlog because I had already started reading it before I started recording this vlog, but this is my video. I do what I want. I had picked up The Red Winter. The creator I saw talking about this book said it reminded her of Between Two Fires mixed with The Witcher. Now, I will say, yes, I agree with that. And that was enough. I think she said it was these two books, like with a little bit of queer on top, a touch of the gay. And I said, I want to read that book. But I'm going to revise this. It is these two books for sure, but it's some of this book too. It's these three things mixed in a blender with some queer on top. It's that good. So why was I avoiding talking about it in this vlog when I'm reading it? And instead of picking up other things when I want to read this, we're going to read this. I am halfway through. This is the story of Sebastian, and he is a professor, maybe, kind of. In the story, you are existing in multiple timelines, and you technically have more than one narrator. You also have footnotes to keep you up to date on the facts, and from one particular point of view, to clarify her feelings on certain topics. But we are following Sebastian, who is immortal? Not really, he just keeps on living. He just keeps on living. There isn't a lot of clarity so far in what the heck that means, but we start off in what feels like present day. And then we start recounting a story that takes place in the 1700s in France. But then we are also jumping back 20 some odd years before that through another thing that happened in the same exact area. And then we are jumping back to the 1400s to have another point of view. All of these points of view pertain to each other and are not confusing. I think I'm making it sound confusing, but we are basically living in multiple timelines with this character. He has years prior been involved in a great hunt in this French village to eradicate a local monster they call the Beast. And the period of time that this beast was terrorizing this local area was known as the Red Winter. We then have the son of someone that Sebastian was romantically involved with previously, who lived in the area of the Red Winter, show up 20 odd years later and say, hey, it's happening again and we need your help. This is so much fun. It's funny, it's gross, it lives on that line of like fantasy horror really well, but feels very firmly fantasy. Our characters are all well thought out. They react like people who have their own motives. I'm having a great time. This is like so good. And so if something that feels like these three books mixed into one book feels like a good idea to you, I don't know what else to tell you. What are you doing? I hope that when I reach the end of this book, I still feel the same way, but I'm having a great time. From my library list, I decided to pick up Elegy for the Undead. This is a teeny tiny little book, and I just picked it up, read about 18 pages, and already wanted to stop and just highlight the heck out of it, but I can't. That would be defacing library property. I want you to listen to this line because I know this is going to be another sad zombie book. Not too long ago, I read One Yellow Eye, which is a very sad zombie book. And I feel like this already is doing a little more for me in 18 pages than I felt in One Yellow Eye, but I think that that's because we are going to grieve over this entire book, where in One Yellow Eye, the person was already grieving when we met them. I'm going to grieve along with the character of Jude, because this is the story of Jude and Lyle. They are a couple, and in the opening of this book, they are talking to a doctor who is giving Lyle the diagnosis that previously the zombie outbreak happened, and Lyle and Jude both survived, but they were given some sort of medication at the time of the outbreak in order to stop the spread of this zombie virus. It has been found out now, how much later? 1 month after the zombie outbreak, Lyle is speaking to this doctor, and the doctor is like, hey, you have the zombie virus, but because of the medicine you took, it's not going to be a super fast progression of this illness. You have X amount of time before you are completely erased, basically. That this virus, this illness will take you, but you have this much time to say your goodbyes, pass out the hugs, divvy up your stuff, and cry like a baby. So we have Jude and Lyle, and then we back up, and Lyle starts telling us about Lyle and Jude's first encounter when they meet in high school, when they reconnect back in college. And already, I know this is going to break me. Listen to this. I had put all of my will into the chance occurrence of me seeing Jude. Or perhaps it wasn't specifically that I wanted to see Jude, but that I had quietly begged the world to send something to change me. Instead, Jude revealed me. And it goes on to just be like absolutely beautiful. Lyle is in college currently in this point in the story, like less than 20 pages in, taking creative writing. He seems kind of listless. Jude seems more personable so far, even though we haven't got much into him. But I have a feeling that we're basically going to go through Jude and Lyle falling in love, getting this diagnosis, and saying goodbye to each other. And I'm going to cry so hard. Let's hurt our feelings, shall we? Finished Elegy for the Undead, and although I ended up having an okay good time with this, it only ended up being a 3-star read for me. The real reason being the way that the story handles time. We are going back and forth through time, and each chapter, whether it is from Lyle's perspective or Jude's perspective, starts with where we are in the time period to when Lyle is going to be infected. So we have 7 years prior. We have sometimes where it's like 3 years prior. Here we have 27 hours prior. We are jumping back and forth through time, kind of getting the buildup of this couple's relationship. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it makes it lose all momentum, especially when we're jumping between something that is very emotionally driven, happening years prior in the beginning of their relationship when they're having issues, to then jumping moments prior and we're in the middle of a battle with zombies. It would really, really throw me sometimes. Sometimes it was done masterfully. Like sometimes it really worked, and sometimes I just feel like it either stalled momentum or threw me out of what was happening. We can't be bludgeoning zombies with broken table legs and then having deep conversations about where our relationship is going and me not feel a little bit of whiplash. That being said, I think this was completely fine for being as short as it was. It was definitely emotional. It was definitely these couples' relationship. But because it's so short and because we are getting the background of that relationship at the same time as we're getting the present day of this relationship where it's already established, I don't know if I just never really fully got there with feeling emotionally invested in the relationship. There were some really beautifully written moments in this book. This author definitely has some talents in describing things, and there were some really beautifully written areas of this story, but overall, it was just fine, and that's okay. I just needed it to be fine. It wasn't super long, so it's not like it wasted a bunch of my time. So we finished a book about zombies. I will say in this book, though, they call zombies the bloody ones, and I know that, like, I'm pretty sure somebody has trademarked the actual word zombies, so every new iteration of zombiness has to rename the zombies something different, and sometimes they do a good job of it, and sometimes they call them the bloody ones, and that's a whole mouthful. If something is chasing me, wanting to murder me, I'm not going to get 2 words out. That's why zombies works, because it's so quick and that's exactly what's happening, right? But the bloody ones sounds more descriptive, and the dead guys, I don't know. I can't think of a better word for zombies, but they've all been done before. But I think it's that we're running out of new descriptive ways to say dead people. They get up and try and eat your face. I am going to get back into The Red Winter, hopefully this evening, and we'll finish up another book and we'll chat about it. because that's what this is about. I decided on this absolutely gorgeous day to tell you about how I finished reading a book. I finished Red Winter, and I ended up giving this 5 stars. I had an absolute blast with this. This is dark and sad and gory and violent and funny and really well thought out. And the ending leaves it open for the author to return to this world and give us more stories involving some of our favorite characters. Overall, if you like a fantasy that borders on horror, you're going to like this. The moments of levity are really fun, but I think it was also that this was such an easy world to slip into. The magic system, although it's not something that they sit you down and exposition dump on you, it's more that this character who has been alive for a very long time knows that you are someone not necessarily well educated in the magic that he performs, but he gives you enough that you understand that there are words of power and symbols of power, but there's also ancient things that are so wholly original yet made familiar by the characters that are introduced. This is angels and demons, but it's even older than that. This was really, really interesting, really well done. I flew through this. I ended up picking up the audiobook for the last little bit because I had so much physically that I had to do as a human being. I couldn't sit and read, yet I wanted to continue reading this. I will say the 2 narrators that we get for this book have very different ideas of what some of the characters sound like, which was a little bit interesting, but overall an easy audiobook listen. Livia is a treat. I hope that if there is another book in this world, I mean, I can't see her not being included, but Livia needs to be there. Our main character has I don't know if I've already explained this, but he has a demon that doesn't so much reside in his body with him, but kind of. He always is kind of perched on his shoulder, even though most people wouldn't be able to see him. He is a guest within this person's soul, is how I'll put it. His name is Sarmadel, and although I believe they pronounced it very differently in the audiobook, which took me a second, or maybe I'm just mispronouncing it incredibly, honestly. He is a demon that kind of rides around on Sebastian all the time. So there is an inner monologue, a commentary. When he's speaking to himself, someone is answering. It's a really interesting relationship. They've been together for so long, but Sebastian refers to him as his guest. And when they are speaking to each other, they call each other my love. It is a very interesting situation. There are so many possibilities that this author could jump off on. We made it to the French Revolution, but there's so much more time because in the opening of this story, I believe we're in 2020. Because in the opening of the story, in the foreword, we're already in 2013. Sebastian has lived for so many centuries, and there's so many interesting stories that I would love to read about him and some of these other characters. But that, kids, is where we are going to end this vlog. We're going to spend some time outside. Well, I should probably check on the dogs. They've probably left. But if you had fun hanging out with me and the dogs, please subscribe. I hope you're reading good books out there, wherever you are, and I'd love to hear about them. And I need to move from this spot before I get attacked by bees. I'll see you next time.